the next presenter, and that's Michael Anderson, Managing Director of Firefinch. Firefinch, of course, is an ASX-listed gold miner and lithium developer with two outstanding assets in Mali, the Morila gold mine and Goulamina lithium project. I think the bulk of the presentation might be on the lithium project, but I'll let Michael take over control, and as soon as we get him off mute, he can start speaking. Great.
Thank you, Kale, and thanks for the introduction. Yes, we will focus predominantly on Goulamina, and in fact, a significant announcement out today following receipt of our final Chinese regulatory approvals for our joint venture with Ganfeng, I'm sure many in the audience will know plenty about. So a little bit of our background. We are, as you say, ASX listed. We've had a pretty stellar 6 months of performance in the market. As you can see, we are now capped at over $500 million Australian dollars with these two assets. Morila, as you say, the gold mine that we acquired from Barrick and Anglo American 12 months ago exactly. And then more recently in June, we announced this joint venture with Ganfeng over Goulamina, a project which we completed feasibility on 12 months ago also, which is now fully permitted and indeed funded to construction through this joint venture. We have substantial cash, but very importantly, that arrangement with Ganfeng will see them inject the $194 million required for the development of Goulamina in a combination of debt and equity. Being in Africa, we do have a bit of a theme about some of the animals there, and Morila has long since been called Morila the gorilla, but we are christening a new company in the new year when we demerge the Goulamina project into a company that we're going to call Lithium. And Leo, the land, has a lot of history in Africa, as you can imagine, and LI being the symbol for lithium. We hope that it does resonate with investors and stakeholders. And of course, we are enjoying an incredible backdrop of strength in lithium products and raw material pricings. The spodumene concentrate price in contract markets has risen well over 50% in the last few months, and in fact in spot markets has skyrocketed. It creates a fantastic platform, and the one thing we know from talking to our new partner in Ganfeng is that they're seeing projected demands that really will support this industry long into the future here, off the back of the electric vehicle thematic, battery thematics in general, and lithium chemicals. And they are busy expanding their downstream capacity in country, in China, and that's being supported by their investment in multiple projects, most notably for us, of course, ours. And Goulamina has long since demonstrated its technical and geological credentials. We, Firefinch, have put in place through our drilling programs over 100 million tons of resource at around 1.5% Li2O, lithium oxide, and over 50 million tons of reserve, again at those grades. And what we've talked about today in an announcement that we released to the ASX is that we will be back drilling very soon. There is ample upside to those resources and reserves. We hope that will not only demonstrate the longevity of this project, but also underpin a stage 2 expansion once we get underway with this initial development that is designed to produce over 400,000 tons of 6% clean, impurity-free spodumene concentrate. Clearly for Ganfeng, this feedstock is highly strategic. They are earmarking it specifically for, as I say, that downstream expansion in China. Our cost structure being in Mali, West Africa, is relatively low compared to a number of the first world jurisdictions who are established producers. We expect to be producing concentrate for just over $300 a ton. We modeled our feasibility a year ago on around $660 a ton, and contract prices today are probably more like $850 or $900 a ton, let alone the over $2,000 a ton that's being achieved in the spot market. All of that bodes extremely well as we look to make our final investment decision for this project towards the end of this calendar year, so in just under 2 months' time, hopefully. Importantly, our presence in Mali with Morila at the gold mine already has established us as a miner and an operator in the country. We have very strong relationships with the communities in which we operate and with the government. And importantly, Goulamina is only a couple of 100 kilometers away from Morila in the same regional jurisdiction. And so we're cultivating a partnership now with the region across 2 projects. And our community programs are already well underway, supporting education and health and agriculture in the region, alongside, obviously, the job creation that these 2 projects will bring. But without any question, the biggest catalyst for the Goulamina project has been the partnership with Ganfeng that was announced in June, and which over the last few months has been cemented through further achievement of regulatory approvals and on the brink of making that final investment decision. Ganfeng, as many would know in the audience there, are the world's leading producer of lithium chemicals. I'm led to believe their market capitalization these days is around $40 billion US. Clearly, this is a quality partner, and we are delighted to have them as our joint venture partner. Already a very proactive engagement. They have skills and knowledge about the lithium industry that certainly will bring a major benefit to the Goulamina project. We are looking at a definitive feasibility study update, again, that will be finished very shortly. But they're bringing expertise in processing and flow sheet optimization there that I think will add serious value. And of course, they are interested in the offtake. And when they deliver the funding for the project, they will be entitled to 100% of this stage 1 offtake. And of course, are very interested and indeed supportive of the plans in place to conduct further exploration resource development and to show just how big this project can ultimately be. We've said there that the transaction was nearing completion. Well, we have now received not only Ganfeng shareholder approval, Malian government support, but as of today, all the Chinese regulatory approvals have been, in fact, received. A couple of very significant catalysts in the near term is that as a listed company with these 2 assets, the board has taken a view that the best strategy is for us to demerge the gold and lithium businesses and give them their own management teams and board to drive a pure gold business and ultimately that pure lithium business. We're very pleased a few weeks ago to have announced that Simon Hay, the former Chief Executive Officer of Galaxy Resources, a significant lithium company in its own right prior to its merger with Orocobre, he will be joining us to be the new managing director of our demerged Leo Lithium company. And our shareholders stand to benefit in a free in-specie distribution of shares in that company at no cost. We expect that demerger to be complete in the first quarter of 2022. So extremely exciting times for us with the lithium business. The backdrop of the markets are obviously very strong for the commodity and for the downstream products. We've got a fantastic resource base. It always starts with the geology, and we will be on the path to grow those resources and reserves and to create the foundation for a much larger project. I am mindful that as you said, this is a battery metals session. I would love to tell the audience much more about our gold project. I think in the interest of time, we'll perhaps leave that for another day, and anyone, of course, can reach out to us as a company.
Michael, I don't mean to interrupt, but I wouldn't mind you speaking at least 1 minute on Morila because it is such a good opportunity. So you do have 1 minute if you'd like.
Okay. Well, we acquired this gold mine from Barrick a year ago. It had been in production over the last 20 years and had already produced 7.5 million ounces of gold. We acquired it for less than $30 million. We acquired a 2.5 million ounce resource base, a 4.5 million ton per annum processing facility, and a workforce who know how to run this operation. We have slowly but surely been recommissioning it, ramping it back up, and now drilling again to demonstrate the longer term potential, and some very exciting results in recent months. In fact, the first hole that we drilled into the deeper high grade portions delivered 10 meters at over 30 grams per ton. And we have 5 rigs currently in action here, again, looking to extend what is already a 10-year mine life, where we hope to produce 150 to 200,000 ounces per annum. We're already producing at around the 50,000 ounce level. Next year, once we access that main Morila ore body again, we'll be ramping up to 150 to 200,000 ounces. So this company, Firefinch, has 2 very substantial assets. One, gold already in production and ramping up significantly, and Goulamina, which is, of course, as I said, one of the world's largest and most exciting undeveloped hard rock assets, but soon to be in production. And Mali has a great track record. We have a great relationship in country with the government and with the people there, and we see ourselves poised to grow not just 1 but 2 very significant businesses, and to look to the future to grow both the gorilla and the lion by adding value ultimately through maximizing their own resources and reserves. Then I'm sure also growing through mergers and acquisitions as and when appropriate. So thank you for your time.
Sure. No worries. I could see why you wanted to bring up that last slide there, Michael. It's a beautiful imagery, and I think it encapsulates the Firefinch story very well. You did touch on there. I'm sorry. I'm just going to ask one question before we throw over to Beijing. So, the operating environment of Mali, obviously Mali sometimes pops up in the media, not always for the most glowing headlines. I'm just wondering, from your perspective, you've obviously been active there for quite some time now. What is the operating environment like?
Well, I think the operating environment is fundamentally different than the political environment, and that's where we see the difference in people's perception about the risk. There are multiple companies who have operated here for decades. Our near neighbours from Australia, Resolute, Barrick themselves, B2 with the Fekola gold mine, Anglo American were busy here for many years at Sadiola, Yatela, and indeed at Morila. And so when you look at the political instability, which is undeniable, it does occur, albeit I always point people to just how many prime ministers Australia has had in the last 10 years, and question, whether that isn't equally unstable. But from my perspective, having been there in June, and I'm heading back to Mali in just 10 days' time, the operational stability is demonstrable. And we believe the relationship that we have with not just the government, but the specific ministries of mining and finance creates a very solid platform for us.
Great. I think I did see a hand raised in Beijing there, so we'll have time for one question from Beijing.
Please.
For you, extraordinary introduce. So I have 2 questions about this project. The first one is, are there further opportunities for Chinese investors to be involved in Firefinch or the Goulamina lithium project? Will you see any other interest in this project? And another question is, how the transportation on this project, especially in Mali. As we all know, we have followed this project for a long time since it's extraordinary resource and great. So thanks for your answers.
Well, I guess the opportunity as we continue to grow the lithium business, once we've developed Goulamina, we certainly will be lifting our gaze to look at other opportunities. It depends what sort of investment you're talking about. Of course, we are a listed company, so equity investors can own our shares. They will be able to own ultimately Leo Lithium shares, and we genuinely believe there's a lot of value to be added to that equity story. In terms of the transport, it's very simple. Mali is a landlocked country in the middle of West Africa. Everything moves by truck, and we will be trucking the concentrates down to the port of Abidjan. before shipping back to China to the refineries.
Great. Thank you very much, Michael.